Today's biggest video game news came by way of a Nintendo Direct Mini Partners Showcase. So I'm going to go through the event and break down everything that was shown, and then we're going to do a little speculating about what happened to the big Nintendo E3 style June Direct that we usually get from year to year, and maybe even do a little speculating about if we're going to get that kind of a Direct this summer at all. All right, there's a lot to go over, so let's jump into it. Nintendo's June Mini Direct kicked off with a new 3-minute long Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak trailer, which was actually pretty epic. That game is obviously an expansion for Monster Hunter Rise, and it's out in 2 days on the 30th, so it's kind of surprising to see it here, but the trailer brought news of a free update coming in August. That will include the monster Seething Basilgeuse. I don't know, it's a tricky one. And then 3 more free updates scheduled for fall, winter, and 2023. There's also a demo out now, but progress doesn't carry over, so you might as well wait. Next up, Nier Automata is getting a special Switch port, which is called the End of Yorha edition, which is the full game plus some added modes and then some costumes exclusive to Switch. That comes out October 6th. The next trailer shown was for Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, which looks to be an interesting take on puzzle adventure games set in a spooky hotel. It's being made by Simogo, who made Sayonara Wild Hearts and Year Walk, so a pretty decent pedigree as far as indie games go. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is slated for 2023 on Switch, and it's also coming to Steam. After that, there was a rapid fire section, which included Super Bomberman R2 and a Pac-Man World remake, a little too aptly named Pac-Man World Repack. It seems like more than a repack, but I know there is a growing distaste for remasters and remakes. This seems okay. If you're a Pac-Man fan, I'm not sure who's asking for this, but here you go, Pac-Man World Repack. However, the big spotlight in this short section that people seem to be really excited about is the newly announced Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, which includes Mega Man Battle Network 1 through 6, including all the alternative versions of 3 through 6. So 10 games, give or take, however you want to kind of quantify that. It has a gallery mode with over 1,000 illustrations and a music mode, which includes 180 songs from across the series. It's a hell of an era for the Game Boy Advanced, and Battle Network fans have been asking for something like this for a while, so it's easy to see why so many people got excited. So far, it looks like it's coming to Switch, PC, and PS4 sometime next year. Let me warn you though, the wording at the end of the Direct is a little strange, considering the trailer presents as a full collection, but then there's like kind of a disclaimer that says digitally you can only buy the collection as 2 separate volumes. So I know Capcom has broken up their Mega Man collections in the past, but this time it's a little unclear to me if that means the physical version will just have all 10 games or not, or if you will need to buy 2 volumes like with, like I said, the other Mega Man collections that have released in the past. Usually they just section them off as separate games, but this time it looks like they're only doing that for the digital versions, or maybe if you buy the physical versions, it's like extra expensive and it comes with both volumes. It's a little unclear right now. Hopefully we get more information about that in the future. Anyways, it's a cool win for Mega Man Battle Network fans who have had to wait way too long for a collection like this, or, even just a modern way to play these old games. Moving on, there was also a new indie game called Blanc, where you play as a fawn and a wolf cub who have to work together to survive the frigid wilds. It kind of has a brother's tale of 2 sons vibe going on. There's no text in the whole game, but there is local and online co-op. That's out on Switch next year in February. Another exciting trailer for fans of old games, Return to Monkey Island, a sequel to the first 2 Monkey Island games being worked on by Ron Gilbert himself, got its first actual gameplay trailer, and it looks good. Some people are going to take issue with the art, but I think it makes sense that a new Monkey Island game would try to adopt a more modern art style. The trailer is packed with a number of antics, returning characters, and familiar settings from the original games, so polish off your nostalgia goggles because that game is coming out sometime before the end of the year. Also coming out later this year is Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Of course, that's the sequel to Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. It's a top-down strategy game being co-developed by Nintendo and Ubisoft that features everyone's favorite cast of Mario characters and, of course, their rabid doppelgangers. The takeaway from this new trailer is that Bowser will be a playable character this time around, and also he has a freaking rocket launcher, which is kind of weird, but also kind of awesome. I guess it's fitting. That's out October 20th, but there is more info coming about the game tomorrow via an official Ubisoft Sparks of Hope showcase. Following that trailer, there was another kind of rapid fire section. Little Noah, Scion of Paradise, is a procedurally generated 2D action adventure roguelite where you collect and recruit allies to help you fight. That's out today on Switch, but also Steam. Railgrade is a railroad building and management sim coming out this fall. RPG Time: The Legend of Wright is an RPG that takes place in a hand-drawn notebook. I think that's already out on Xbox, but it's coming to Switch August 18th and coming to Steam in September, it looks like. Next up, surprisingly, Sonic Frontiers showed up to this mini direct, which is a game that's been causing a bit of controversy among a number of Sonic fans who feel underwhelmed so far by its presentation and the lack of momentum. The trailer showed off a new zone called Cyberspace, and overall, I think it was a better trailer than what we've seen so far, but the game has a lot to prove now to a lot of different fans expecting a lot of different things. Such is the fate of any modern or new Sonic game that's reimagined in a 3D world. Just a lot of expectations there. I think it's probably impossible to meet all of them, if any of them. Sonic Frontiers is launching on pretty much every platform in the fall. Disney Dreamlight Valley will have Disney fans doing side quests and helping out all their favorite characters in a sim life adventure style game. That's coming to early access September 6th. Next up, an old game that got the HD 2D remaster treatment that I'm excited for, Live Alive, is an old Square JRPG where you play as a number of characters throughout time, and it never came to the States. It's scheduled to release on Switch July 22nd, but there's a demo out today. You can start 3 different chapters, and your save data in this case will actually carry over to the full game when it releases. Apparently, there's a Doraemon farming game being made by Bandai Namco. If you or the young people in your life like planting crops and raising digital animals, Doraemon Story of Seasons has a local co-op and is out sometime later this year. Minecraft Legends also showed up during the mini direct, which is a Minecraft-themed action strategy game, which we originally saw during the Xbox showcase earlier this summer. The difference here is we got a longer look at some gameplay. Not much, but you could more readily see some base building, unit management, and tower defense elements in play. That one's not out till next year though. Next up, Dragon Quest Treasures. This game was announced during the 35th or 30th Dragon Quest anniversary event. I think that happened earlier this year, and it's been referred to as a spiritual successor to Dragon Quest Monsters, which if you don't remember is an old Pokemon-like game, but Dragon Quest themed. But Dragon Quest Treasures is also kind of a Dragon Quest XI spin-off featuring young versions of the characters Eric and Mia as they quest to become great treasure hunters. So you basically collect monsters and then use their special abilities to battle, but also to get around the world and of course, find treasure. That's coming to Switch December 9th. Not to leave a single stone unturned here, there was a montage of games that promoted titles already available on Switch, like No Man's Sky and Fire Emblem Warriors, but the montage did include a reminder that A Plague Tale Requiem is getting a cloud version for Switch when it comes out October 18th, and there was also kind of this top-down strategy game called Captain Velvet Meteor, the Jump Plus Dimensions, that kind of got glossed over. If that's your kind of thing, you might want to check that one out. The Portal Companion Collection is also out today, if you needed a reminder. Nintendo sure felt like you did. There was one kind of a surprise during the showcase, which was made by a game called Harvestella. It's a Square Enix developed life simulation RPG, similar to Stardew Valley or Rune Factory. It's kind of got a lot of the same trappings. There's farming, crafting, also exploring and combat to kind of help you gather resources as the seasons change from one to another. What's striking here is the game's presentation, considering it's on Switch, but also there's a Season of Death. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but it's kind of exciting considering this game wasn't really on anyone's radar, and it's coming out this holiday season on November 4th for Switch and also PC. I know there's a lot of these games, but this one looked kind of neat. Maybe this is the one that gets you if you haven't played any of those other ones. Finally, the last announcement during the Nintendo Partners Mini Direct was that Persona 3, 4, and 5 are coming to Switch, starting with Persona 5 Royal in October. It's the same collection we saw during the Xbox showcase, and honestly, it's kind of just a remix version of the trailer we already saw, and since we knew it was a possibility, this isn't that big of a reveal. However, I think replaying the Persona games on Switch is probably the way to go, unless the PC versions, which we also know are coming, ultimately end up playing nice with the Steam Deck. All right, that's everything, and I gotta say, overall, I felt like there was a lot of cruft in here. There's a lot of things that were shown in the 25 minutes, which made it feel kind of long, but as far as big announcements or reveals go, there wasn't really a lot to kind of sink your teeth into. The biggest things seemed to be the Megaman Battle Network collection and Harvestella. shout outs to Nier Automata for coming to Switch, but a lot of people have played that game a lot of times already just because of the nature of Nier, in which you're playing the game multiple times to get alternate endings. I think Dragon Quest Treasures and Return to Monkey Island also look good, but yeah, I wasn't super blown away by anything in particular. I think this showcase makes sense for Nintendo, trying to get people to head over to the eShop and buy or play stuff, right now or this week. But in terms of getting fans excited for the platform or, big releases coming out, it didn't do much for me. And we know that this wasn't a first party showcase, right? This isn't the big Nintendo E3 style direct. This is a partners direct, but sometimes there can be like really cool or nice surprises in there. Obviously no Silk Song, so rip Silk Song, I guess, which is kind of a bummer, but we'll get a release date for that game eventually. Now, usually, as I kind of mentioned before, by this time in the summer, we've had that really big Nintendo first party direct or just all encompassing direct where they kind of lay out the next 6 months or more with 1 or 2 big reveals that maybe come down further down the line, or just something else to kind of get really excited about. According to the current speculation, it sounds like Nintendo might skip that style of direct this year in favor of doing more isolated directs focused on individual games. I hope it's not true, but they have done this sort of thing in the past. Generally, after a big game gets announced, it later then gets its own dedicated direct. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 already got a dedicated direct last week, so we might see another one for Splatoon 3 later this summer, and maybe even for Bayonetta 3 if it is indeed not delayed and coming out this year. There's also the fact that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are coming out later this year, which could easily fill another dedicated direct, although those games aren't coming out until November. Yesterday, we reported on a pretty substantial rumor that Nintendo has nearly finished remasters for all the Metroid Prime games, and the first installment could be coming to Switch as soon as November as well. So you would think there has to be an event to announce those Metroid Prime remasters, if the rumors are true, not to mention an update on Metroid Prime 4, and of course, there are still a ton of Zelda fans on the back burner waiting to hear any news about Breath of the Wild 2. Obviously, those last few games I mentioned are probably still a ways off, if not, fairly speculative. So it could be that Nintendo is kind of biding their time. They're kind of stalling until they have more things to talk about that are closer to release, which is fine. They will be perfectly okay, just releasing mainline Pokemon games in the holiday, even if the Metroid Prime remasters aren't real. But basically, it just means that if Nintendo does decide to do these individual directs for Splatoon 3, for potentially Bayonetta 3, if that's again coming out this year, it's definitely for the new Pokemon games, which, that might be a Nintendo Direct, or that might be a thing that they host on the Pokemon Company YouTube channel, which they sometimes do. If that's happening in that way, it might mean that we don't get that larger kind of E3 style Nintendo Direct, which is kind of sad. Again, I really hope that's not true. I love a good, strong Nintendo Direct, or a good showing from any of the major publishers, really. But that's kind of just been the word on the street that we might not get one of those really big Nintendo Directs this year. However, Nintendo tends to announce that they're going to do a Nintendo Direct a couple days before it actually happens. So you always kind of just got to be on your toes. You don't ever really know with them. It is weird that they kind of skipped June this year, but we'll just have to wait and see if one does materialize eventually. Maybe at the end of summer, maybe in the beginning of fall. Who knows? All right, that's going to do it for today. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody for your support. And for more video game news and updates, stay tuned right here to Inside Gaming.